let's really quickly drop a ship with a ram on it. If we have just a simple ram, and we drop that right on it, how much damage is this gonna deal? Predictably, none at all. Now, what happens if we use some lead? We're gonna bump up the mass. Stored impact damage 0. It literally cannot do any damage. What if we make it into a lead ball? Now it can do a lot of damage. In fact, just from that small drop, it almost broke a block. Someone had the idea of a bomber plane that drops an impossibly massive object. So we're going to use spin blocks to clip objects into this object so that it just has infinite mass. Place it, build on it, place it, build on it, place it, build on it, place it, build on it. Alright, now it should do a lot more damage. Punched a pretty sizable hole through it. And we're just gonna keep going with that. Forever. Hope no one has motion sickness. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the construct weight, going until it gets really low. 11k, 10k, 9k, 9k. Or 9dk rather, 80k, 70k, 70k, 60k, 60k, k. Okay. Start slowing down. And this should be the last one. Boom, another like 17 or so blocks. Alright, let's see what this does. Okay, that's kind of funny. You know what? This costs 20k, not too terrible. I think I'm satisfied with how it is right now. Just completely obliterating whatever it touches and punching a hole through like a wrecking ball. So now we're just gonna build a really basic bomber plane that just drops this. And here we have it. Our impossibly dense cannonball of instant doom that will just absolutely obliterate anything it touches. 736,000 kilo. Let's look at a big ship like this. This is 1,000,000. That is 1,000,000 compared to this thing's 736. This thing is 3/4 the weight of the entire crossbones. I'm actually curious what, like, density multiplier we're on. We check here. 145. This thing is 145 times as dense as lead. Holy shit. I have been spending a lot of time and effort on this ship. And I don't think I like it. The more time and effort I spend on it, the more mid it appears. Granted, these kinds of ships are just really hard to do justice stylistically. You know what? I'm not touching the keyboard at all. This is just how it flies by default. This is a really well-balanced craft. Now, it's a little bit strange, but we've got separate control surfaces for roll and for pitch. So we're going to have the AI lower its altitude as it gets closer, right? So we'll use this as a fake range number for the moment. And we do, A is less than 200. 500. A is less than 500 times... So we'll do A is less than 500 times 2 times A. So theoretically, this should be 0 if it's over 500. So then... we'll have it be 100 meters minimum. And then if it's less than 500, it gets an extra 2 per. That's a lot, actually. An extra 0.25 per. So it should coast it around like 200 some. Where the hell is the printer? But 0. Good, good. We're gonna bump up. Keep going up. So as range is going up, our cruising altitude goes higher. 200. And then once it's 400. Perfect. So beyond 500, it's just a flat 125. Alright, so now look at this perfectly. It flattens out to 225 once it's above. Other than that, it goes down, down, down smoothly until it's at 100 meters at 0 meter range. But if there is no enemy at any range, then it just flattens out to 100 meter cruising altitude. It cruises low if no enemies are nearby. I know that's not how planes usually work. They usually cruise high because less drag means more fuel efficiency, but whatever. We'll call it good. So we'll just have it say, oh yeah, fly at 3,000, and we'll just have it switching the maximum altitude. So it's setting the maximum altitude. Alright, so it's weird, but this should work pretty well. Let's see how well this thing flies. Okay, it goes up. And it goes down smoothly, disengages, goes back up. Alright. The only issue being, I think we need to go lower. Alright, so now it should go... No? Yeah, look at how low it goes once it's nearby. Alright, so now it's got this mine towed along via tractor beam. And then when it gets about this close, it should just let go. So we're gonna have it let go. Let's see. Alright, so now once it gets really close, it should let go. Issue being it breaks away early. How early does it break away? How far does it usually get? About 150. Looks like also, sadly, the target distance takes into account vertical distance. Tragedy. That's why we're not going so low. Oh god. Our accuracy is so bad it thinks it's 50 meters below the water. Anyway, the distance is going to be the hypotenuse. We want the X leg. So it's going to be A minus B to find the difference in altitude. Oh my god, I think we hit it once and it just vanished. Amazing. So it's not the most fantastically we put it on a turret, maybe it would be a little bit more reliable. This thing would have to move smoother for that, though. We'll just tweak this at first anyway. Anyway, it's going to be the square root of c. Okay, so c squared minus a squared. And then we find the square root of that. But this could be bad, so instead we're going to find the absolute value. The square root of the absolute value. So now this should be the actual range on the ground, and yep. It looks to be much more accurate. I want to weaken up this back propeller so it's not wobbling back and forth as much. It will make it a lot easier for that thing to track where we want it to go. There we are. Look at how much steadier that is. And look at how much better the mine follows. Now, we need to give this thing some actual detection. Alright, so now we're actually going to have some real accurate detection. We're going straight in. I think we tighten up the docking beam at this point. Now that we're way more consistent. And it's just going to be a matter of tweaking these until it works. We're going to make this even tighter, so it doesn't start moving until a moment after we drop the ball. Ooh, it's getting so close. I think what I want to do, this isn't the wise way to do it, but I think if we lift the ball up higher so it goes further, it'll look cooler. We'll tone down the safe distance too. Oh, and definitely display visual effects. Oh, that was so close. I think we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. It actually picks it up really well when it turns around. It's so, like, tantalizingly close. It's kind of funny. I think there's not much more we can do. That just, like, making it, oh, closer, and then it just goes closer to the point where it's basically just a ramming ship. There it goes. And it's gone. That's really funny. Did it get it? No? Tragic. But it looks to be dead in the water. So maybe the second one will also hit. No, I think that's sailing over. Oh, it got picked up too soon afterwards. But look at the hole that thing left in it. Yeah, I think it got picked up too soon afterward. That's gonna be interesting to fix. Whoa! But as is, it can hit. We know for a fact it can work. Now what we could do is just add more mass, but I think we're on the mass. I think anymore and we're just getting silly. I think there needs to be a cutoff point where we can't just like keep cranking the damage and say that that excuses the low hit rate. We need to actually, for this to count as like the vehicle's gimmick, it needs to have some respectable hit rate. And because of that, I don't feel the need to bump up damage. I will consider it a personal failure if all I've done is just crank up the damage and not made an actual well-functioning system to back it up. That is just a complete cop-out. That's not skill, that's just I took someone's idea and executed it in the least graceful way possible. Whereas this is skill-based. I do need to buff the engine a little. Thing's ridiculously fast, actually, for a propeller plane. It's 102 meters per second. What kind of... I mean, it's a triple propeller plane, so it makes some sense that it's so, ridiculously high, speed. Still, I think there's some diminishing returns with a propeller. With a propeller and wood. How straight? Why is it off to the side? You know what I think I want to do? At what distance does it turn back? This is about as the furthest it gets from the enemy in ideal conditions. How far are we right now? This thing goes 100 meters per second. That is ridiculous, actually. Hang on. Typical combat aircraft generally reach top speeds around 120, which is... This thing's fast. Granted, I think this is a little bit past World War I era tech right here. I'm pretty sure all of From the Depths is really... I mean, From the Depths is really advanced tech, so... So if we are over 100 meters from a target that exists, then we slow down to a whopping 1/8 of the speed. Alright, so we're way slower in terms of power, but more efficient. And then we speed back up. This should help. Oh yeah, look at how well aligned it is now. Oh my god, and we immediately get a direct hit. Jesus Christ. Okay, that was wise. It's unusual, but we have a mothership that is significantly cheaper than her daughter ship. So now it's got this horrifying giant ball of mass just dragged behind it, and that's its weapon. This thing's scary. This thing scares me in like a conceptual sense. I don't know how, but I managed to control both at the same time. That was a bug, but it was kind of nice. Alright, now we have a little reinforced window up here. We darken it a tiny bit, even. Not how I expected it to do that. Going about a bit with the paint. I think I like most of it just being plain, plain wood. Not sure if I fuck with the white belly at all, in fact. I think that looks kind of good. Just only the exact bottom layer is white. Everything else is just nicely colored. I don't know, I feel like the design needs a lot of work. But how much work am I willing to give it? I'm actually willing to give it quite a lot of work, because it's a cool concept, and I'm slowly but surely coming to love the design of this plane. Yeah, I'll take this time to shout out my Discord, because this was a suggestion on my Discord, and I'm actually... Like, I saw it, and I actually, like, sat down and started doing it. Like, the moment I saw it, put little access hatches on here using scaled-up firebox. Ah, I definitely think that makes it look a little nicer. That big, smooth side spot was the ugliest part of the thing. Oh, you know what? You know what this thing needs? Landing gear. Or at the very least, hatches for landing gear. It also needs different propeller texture. Alright, now we've got landing gear pods. Or 3 little landing gear bay. I think the engine's kind of neat. It's a little goofy with the triple exhausts, but you know. I should unpaint the exhaust pipe connectors right here. Now, the more effective thing would be the hovercraft that spins one up, that sits above it, spins it up, throws it straight down at it. One of these seemed to be adopting a different approach. I don't think it realized that its payload is the thing with the... What? That was perhaps the boldest strategy I've seen in a while. And it barely left a dent in the thing. There we go. Perfect. Starting to land hits. A tragedy. I flew the plane into the tower, and it just got stuck between it and the tower next to it and did nothing. What a tragic ending. Either way, make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want to see some more. And once again, you should check out my Discord, because this was a suggestion in the Discord. Of course, you can leave suggestions in the comments, but, you know, I'm much more likely to respond. And, yeah. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.